Hi, I'm Dr. Joel Eby with Mission Move Physical Therapy, and today I want to talk to you about shoulder bursitis. So maybe you've been told you have shoulder bursitis, or maybe you think you might have shoulder bursitis. So this would be a great video for you either way, because what I want to do in this video is teach you a little bit about what it is exactly, and then some of the first steps that you can take to help you with this problem. So the first thing I want to explain to you is what it is. And to do that, I have a shoulder model here. And bursitis, the best way, the way I explain it to my patients is that it's an internal blister, okay? And I guess I use the word blister because it is a fluid-filled sac. And bursa, which are these substances, these kind of sacs that are all over your body, in the joints, and they're in areas anywhere there's pressure, right? So they can kind of be between the tendon and the bone. They can be on either side of the tendon. Sometimes there's just anywhere where like there's tissue that's pressing over something bony. And there's a ton of them. I think there's like 5 or 6 in the shoulder itself. But the most prominent one that we treat or that people tend to have is a subacromial bursitis. So this is a model of your right shoulder, and this part of the shoulder blade right here is called the acromion. And if you look through this space, right, you can kind of see this little space right here. Hopefully you can see that. That is where that bursa lies. Now, just like a blister, right? If the bursa is not inflamed, then it's like it's not even there, right? Just like if you look at my hand right here is like a callus. There's no blister there, but let's say I had to shovel snow or something like that, or rake, use something that would rub against my hand. The blister would come out of nowhere, so it would seem. That's sort of like the bursa, right? Like you never know it's there till it hurts. So that's why it's kind of an odd sort of thing. But with the subacromial bursitis, the bursa sits right there. And the reason the bursa will become inflamed is if this area here starts to get compressed, right? Where when you raise your arm up, usually like this, the ball part is coming up like this. And instead of the ball gliding down, it comes up and you push into that little narrow gap there. And when you push over time, just like a blister forms due to pressure over time, repeated pressure, the same happens with the bursa. And the bursa is just, when you get a blister on your hand, right? It's like your body's trying to tell you like, hey, stop it, like you're hurting us. The same thing is with the bursa, right? You repeatedly push into that pinch zone right there. The bursa forms and it hurts. And then you are like, hey, what the heck? That hurts. So I need to be able to, that tells you you need to do something different, okay? So one of the main causes that we see of why this happens in the first place is because the shoulder blade tends to be a little bit more forward in people. And the reason that is because of posture, right? And it's very common for people to have forward shoulder blades. And it really comes down to just because we do everything in front of us, right? We drive cars, we work on our computers, we hug our wives, our families, and kids. And so we tend to have more dominant muscles in the front, your pecs, which attach here to the shoulder blade also, which pull that shoulder blade forward a little bit. And then because it's more forward, when you go to raise your arm overhead, it doesn't move out of the way as well as it should. And then that's sort of what creates that pinch zone. That's the main reason. There is other reasons, but that's the main one, and just kind of your everyday individual, okay? So I'm going to give you a couple things to address what to start with when you have shoulder bursitis. But the first thing you want to do is if you're in a lot of pain, you want to reduce the inflammation. This is a good time, like if you want to take some ibuprofen or if you've been to the physician and they give you some sort of anti-inflammatory, go ahead and take it because you want to reduce the inflammation. Just take it for the prescribed dose. You don't have to keep taking it. Nobody wants to take drugs forever. And so reduce the inflammation, one, by taking a little bit of medication. Sometimes you don't need it, sometimes just some ice. And then sometimes all you need is, the second thing I would recommend is just avoid the range of motions that cause it. So if you have something that you do, and it could be working out, it could be a sport, it could be part of your job where you have to repeatedly reach overhead and manipulate something, then you want to avoid doing that just to decrease the inflammation, right? Totally makes sense. So the first thing to do is to reduce the inflammation with a little bit of medication if needed, and then obviously to reduce, stop doing what's causing to hurt, right? Common sense. Okay, so the second thing, or the third thing that we want to work on is, what do we start doing to your body? What are some things that you can start doing to help this situation? And the main thing is to start working on opening your chest up and thoracic extension, right? So if we're trying to make it so that when you get your arm up like this, that this is able to have the room to move out of the way to get up like that, then we want to start in the front, actually. We don't want to start right at the shoulder, but we want to start in the tissue surrounding the shoulder. So let me go through a couple of stretches and then maybe 2 strengthening exercises that you can start doing, okay? I'm going to do it over here. Let me move the camera just a little bit. Bear with me. All right, that should be good. Okay, let me get my little notepad here so I don't forget any of them. So the first one that we do is the corner stretch. Hopefully you can see me from way over there, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You're gonna get in a corner. You're gonna put your elbows on the wall like this, keep your head on top of your shoulders, and just go back and forth into the corner. Okay, just working on feeling that stretch in your pecs, okay? So you can do 20, 30 of those, you could do 100 of them, probably be fine, okay? The next one that I want you to do is a side lying rotation stretch. Now this is typically one that we do for the shoulder, where we work on using the arm, but because with bursitis, people tend to feel it with their arm overhead, we're gonna keep the arm in a neutral position. So what you wanna do is you wanna lie down on your side, you wanna bring your knees up to 90 degrees here at the hips, take your bottom hand, put it in here like this. That's kind of keep you from rolling. And for this, just put your hand on your chest here, and then I want you to turn and look with your eyes, turn with your head and look, and try to get your back rotated and turned all the way down to the ground just like this. Okay, you can go back and forth just a little bit, rotating this way. All right, you would obviously do about 10 on each side, and you would obviously do them on both sides, not just one. If you have shoulder bursitis on one side, you don't want to get it on the other one, right? So the next one I want you to do is there's 2 that you can do with the foam roll. First one I like to have people do with the foam roll is just to sit on it long ways. Lay down on it like this. Oh, this feels so good. Okay. I try not to show this to people at the end of the day because I just want to stay there. But if you can bring your foam roll to your office or your workplace and take a little 5-minute nap on the foam roll like this, it doesn't look like it'd be comfortable, but it really is. And so lie down on here long ways. I want you to have your elbows like this resting on the ground and just relax there. And what this does is help pull your chest apart, right? You're basically draping your body with pressure in the middle, so you're draping around either side, and just relax right there. Don't try to bring your arms up here like this. Make sure your elbows are touching. Stay here 5 or 10 minutes. All right, so that's a great one. Feels so good. That just feels good on your back in general. The next one I want you to do with the foam roll is to get on it here in your thoracic spine, because we're trying to open up that thoracic spine. Put your arms across your chest and then just arch your back like this, okay? You can kind of move it up a couple different segments. You can do maybe 6 or 7 here, go up, 6 or 7 there, keep going, and work on that thoracic extension. Sometimes I give reps for this, but if you just work on it for a few minutes, you'll make some progress that way too. All right, so those are kind of the mobility ones that are the easiest to do. So now that we're starting to get some mobility, let's start working on some of our back muscles to take that new mobility that we have and start strengthening our back to help pull our shoulder blades back to give us more room. So the first one that I like to have people do is something called the W exercise, because your arms sort of make a W like this. And you're gonna start with your palms facing each other. You're gonna squeeze your back like this and keeping your elbows in, and you're pinching your shoulder blades together, right? I'll show you from the back. Squeeze like this. So it's not just your arms moving, you're really just pinching your shoulder blades together, sticking your chest out to help open up the chest. You could do like, I don't know, 3 to 4 sets of 10 of those throughout the day. Once you're good at that, then again, we can start strengthening again in this pulling motion, just using some rubber bands or a cable machine at the gym, and start doing some rows. Again, really working on squeezing your shoulder blade together. Those are the initial steps that we have someone take when they have shoulder bursitis. Now, once the inflammation and the pain starts to feel a lot better, then we'll start actually working back into what is kind of thought of as traditional shoulder rehab, where we start working up into some planes overhead, working on strength in different ranges of motion, internal and external range of motion, or hip range of motion, and strengthen the shoulder in all the different planes and different ways that the shoulder can move. So, but those are the initial steps. So hopefully, if you are having some shoulder pain, you think you're having shoulder bursitis, or you've been told you have shoulder bursitis, this was informative to you. Start with decreasing the inflammation, and then start doing some of these mobility exercises, and that's a good first step towards feeling a lot better with shoulder bursitis. If you have any information, or any questions, you can ask in the comments below. And then if you are local to us here in Roswell, Georgia, and you need some help with this, please reach out to us and we'd love to help you. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys again soon.